Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Thing Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And tonight is going to be the final look at what Black truly is, what it means, what it signifies. Now, the first 2 days, we looked at how Black people think. What do they think about when they're trying to conjure up something in their mind? What are they thinking about? And whatever it is that they're thinking about, remember it is tinged in Black. And, if you were smart, you would look up and see what Black means, what it really means, not what you think it is. The people who came up with the term, what definition did they put to it? Because it's not a word. Black is not a word that so called Black people invented or put out. It's from other people from other lands in other places. What you call Black people or what you call African Americans, they're just basically the sock puppet that goes over the term Black. They're not Black. They're not the color Black. Copper color lifestyle. How you doing, love? They're not the color Black. It's just a word that they've been given, that they've been sucking on since they came out of the womb. It's kind of like the word God. Doesn't mean anything, hasn't shown that it means anything, but there are some people that word is like a magic spell to them. Same with the word Black for so called African Americans. And if you look up what the term Black means, I mean, give it to your 5-year-old son or granddaughter. See what they say. They'll tell you. So if this is what you think you are, you're going to say Black or dark things. You're going to teach your children it. You're going to call your mama that. Just check out the words used. You'll ever notice when African Americans or Black people are talking on any of these platforms, I'm talking about when they're in a group talking, you never can understand what's being said because they're always talking over each other, not listening to what the other one's saying, just want to talk and run their yap. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So you got to stop acting like that's not what's happening and start calling that out because it's really embarrassing. You really don't learn nothing. You're not teaching the kids nothing. You're making it where nothing can be understood. That's Black. Going nowhere. At the bottom. These are words that are synonymous with the word Black. Lose. When you think about Black, you don't think about Black people winning. You always thinking about, I've been down for so long, I don't even know how to get up. You got that mindset. I can't win for losing. That's a Black mindset. I can't win. It's a Black mindset. So not only does it work well as a word, but it works excellent as a control mechanism. So when you think it, you speak like that, the next thing you're going to do is do it. Now, humans, anybody, if anybody thinks this wrong or has another way that is done, please, please share it. We want to hear it because we can't keep going in this, you know, The world is dumped on you, and you have to deal with what the world thinks about you. And when you join them, do what they do to you, what does that say about your progeny? What does that say about your grandchildren? What does that say about you if you recycle back through here? What does that say? So today we're going to look at what black do. We all know how it thinks. We all know what they talk about. Now we're going to show you if you think you're black and you're not. You show anybody show me a black person, a literal black person, I'll give you $5. Show me one. I mean, show me a black person, and you can't do it, yet you continue to call yourself that, knowing that you're not that. You see that? You're willing yourself to be that. Then on top of that, you say it all the time. You use it in a context that makes no sense. And all that does is cause confusion. Let's check out what black people do, what they do. The last two nights, we have discussed how everyday people expend the majority of their energy. So you have energy. You wake up in the morning, you're rested, you're feeling refreshed. Now you're starting to give off energy. If it's kissing your wife, having breakfast with your wife, running the kids to school, whatever, you are expending energy. And the majority of ways that you spend energy is thinking, saying, talking, and doing. What you think leads you to what to say. What you say leads you to what you do. But when you think you're something that you're not, you're going to speak what is not true, leading you to do things that only benefit others. And we're going to talk about this later. Don't be, you know, ashamed because this is what you do. Understand what you do. That's the only way you'll stop doing it. The things that we do. I was just talking to a lady about she wants to fast and she's finding it hard. But I tell her, you've been eating since the day you came out the womb. Somebody stuck a nipple in your mouth. You've been eating every day. So to refrain from that is going to be hard, but it can be done. You just have to change your mind. There's millions of songs on that has been passed down to you. Let that be the backdrop. Let that be the soundtrack of what you're trying to do. Because you are your thoughts. Right on? Earth, Wind, and Fire, all about love. You are your thoughts. If you think you're black, your thoughts, your words, and your deeds are going to be the same thing. If you think black, speak black. Darkness will be on your ass like flies on shit. Won't they? See, we like to act like they don't. We don't like to talk about it. If you think black, you speak black, You're gonna be in the dark. I mean, this is simple. This isn't hard. This isn't something you gotta think about and figure and count on your fingers and toes. This is simple. What you call black people, African Americans, this is exactly how they think. Now, I'm putting I'm putting the link. If anybody wants to get up and what I'm saying, if it doesn't make sense, please, you can ask the question. You give an example, I give an example. When you're talking, I won't cut you off. Same with me. And we conversate. We don't just each other, which is the main way so called black people, African Americans speak, arguing over nothing. You'll notice in the United States corporation, remember, the United States is a corporation, it's a company on top of you. It's not America, it's the United States of America. That's a corporation, a company that so called black people are a part of. That's why they call it the US. So you think it's us. It's not about us, it's about them. They just call it the US so you can think you're a part of it. That's one of the reasons why they gave you the moniker black. You won't even think about it. You'll just do what you're told. And isn't that exactly how black folks get down? They don't come up with ways that'll benefit them. They don't say, hey, let's come up with an education system so our children can be out of school at 12. They don't do that. They do what other people tell them to do, don't they? Then they'll get mad and lie. What you doing? So these people will never grow. So it's going to take people like you who are listening to look up in yourself, find out who you really are. That's why you hear a lot of people, you hear the term genealogy in the forefront. What did your people do? What what minerals did they pick up in their lives? What food did they eat? See, black people don't do that. They do what they're told. That's why they call them black. You'll notice that term black is probably one of the most used terms. And you'd have to ask yourself, why do we pick up terms that don't describe us? You'll notice the United States corporation has its foundations on your ancestors' back and is able to pimp your ancestors' progeny, you, like a dirty foothold, don't they? And you will be upset if somebody tell you, like Malcolm X once say, hey, let's do something for ourselves. Let's come up with something. Let's get our life expectancy back up to 120. Let's grow nutrient dense food. Let's do that. These let's do that. We don't do that. We do what other people tell us to do. This is black people. Is that right? Why do why do they do that? Why does everybody treat you bad? That you're not in their clubs. If you are, you're on the outer fringes. Fringes. Why don't let's take a group like the Black Panthers, because I like to use history to put it in so we can see how we're always duped and never know anything. Let's take a group like the Black Panthers. You do know third in charge of the Black Panthers was a Japanese cat named Richard Okoye. Let's just take that. Because the Black Panthers, when black people about Black Panthers, they start getting happy and doing backflips and stuff. You tell me what Japanese company, organization, corporation in Japan where you are third in charge there. When you ask Black people this or African Americans that, don't wait for the answer. Just look at the look on their face. It'll tell you all you need to know. Why do all these people treat you like that? Because your ancestors didn't take too kindly to being called Black. Ask your grandfathers, great grandfathers, and in some cases, great great grandfathers. You called them Black, somebody slapped the shit out of you because they knew it was a term of trying to get rid of them. Guess who don't know that? Their children, their great children, great grandchildren, and their great great grandchildren. They look at it as a badge of honor. That's how you can get them to phase themselves out of existence. And I'll be here all night just giving you examples in the past 30 years. But Black people, African Americans have come up with some excuse of why that happened. Somebody did. No, because they understood, because your ancestors understood, and this is where I get it from, what people were trying to say to them. They were trying to remove them from their land so they can have it. Their progeny is basically giving it away in the past 60, 70 years, served it up. And you see the remnants of it today. This is what Blacks do. It's not what they think. We're way past that. It's what they do. Anybody who's using that term when they describe, and everybody uses it. And guess who doesn't understand it yet? When used to describe people, the term Black doesn't apply. Guess who doesn't know that? Right. Guess who teaches their children they are that? Guess who, when you ask them to explain, how are you Black? Before they answer, like I said, look at their faces because it'll tell you exactly what they're thinking. If you look at everything Black people do, you will realize that it benefits everybody but themselves. We spoke on this before. In the 9 areas of human activity, everything that Black people do, they do it to please everyone else but themselves. Don't they? Tell the truth. See, if you tell the truth, it'll automatically turn you away from doing it. But you do it, lie, and say, we don't do that when you know damn well that you do. And I'm speaking on the whole, not just one person selling out or being compromised in lieu of the whole group. That's what Black people do. You see it every day. Long as they can have the spotlight on them, long as they can shine, they'll sell you out for a quarter. OJ said it, for the love of money. So, so when we talk about this, we don't. What do you mean? What do you mean the 9 major areas? where people congregate and people deal with each other. The nine major areas. Now we're going to take it on. So when you go to Europe and you look on the ceilings in their churches, and I'm sure many of you have seen that finger of God, where there's a finger supposedly coming from the heavens, touching the finger of man, connecting the tube. I'm sure you all seen it. I don't know the name of it. I don't know but this is in their early history how they used to see the world, and they used to paint it on the ceilings of their churches. And on the ceiling of their churches, when they used to look at the world used to become, now many of you are young, but you can ask your mom and dad, grandma, granddad this. It used to be known as the four corners of the earth: Asia, Africa, Europe, and America. And on these churches, you can go over there next time you go on one of these vacations. Go to Germany. Look at the ceilings of these churches. It's right there in front of you. They'll have who the people of Africa were. They'll have who the people of Asia were. They'll have who the people of Europe were. And they will have the people of America were. This is how I don't understand how Black people are always arguing with people. Baby, your folks wrote in the stone. And we just ignore it because I remember using the term Black is just like putting eye black on a football player. It blocks out the light. It blocks out intelligence. It blocks out inquisitiveness. It blocks it out. That's all it means. It blocks out the light. Guess who doesn't know that? And I'm not talking about the 30, 40 years old. I'm talking about the 60, 70-year olds. Never had an organic thought in their life, but will keep talking like they have, confusing anybody who will listen. So let's go over the nine areas and see where the so-called African, the Asian, the European, and the American, what place do they come in on the world stage? And you'll understand why the term Black is not applicable. The first one is economics. And just ask yourself a few questions and it's over. Do we have banks? Do Black people have banks? Or do they put their money in other people's bank and then brag about how much money they have? Do Black people have their own money? Do Black people make the rules for their own money? Answer the truth. Don't give no Black answer. So you will begin to think about how you can make it possible. What Black people do will lie and say, yeah, just so they don't have to answer the question. Do Black people have their own printing press to make their own money? And because you always hear them say, everybody want to do what we want to do. They still our culture. Well, how come you don't have no money? How come everybody's not trying to get your dollars? How come everybody's not trying to get what you make? Because Black people, they have more stuff in their homes that other people from other places have made. They have more stuff in their house, garage, everything that other people have made than they themselves have made in their own country, don't they? You don't think that's a problem? You think your kid should grow up doing that? Most do. Don't care. You don't tell me what to do, nigga. You ain't my daddy. So economics. Do you set the standard on the minerals in your home, or do somebody else come and do it? It's economics. You run the gold and silver in your home, or can other people come and do it because they got you to join them, didn't they? This is what you handing off to your children? Yeah. How about education? Another area. So-called black people give their minds to other people and dare you to say something about it. Most of your minds have been given to other people for them to do what they want to do, and you let them do it, don't you? And you're going to let them do it to your children, your grand. You don't care. This is just not a one person thing or a group thing. This is everybody. We all supposed to be working together like ants, taking care of each other, making sure everybody's well. Like the ants do, black people don't do that. They make sure everybody else is well. They make sure everybody else is fed, don't they? What about entertainment? We haven't tapped into the wireless of the world and start having our own version of a TV, of a radio, and you see how you're treated in the music business. You see how you're treated in the film business. Feel all these geniuses I went to college that then came up with nobody's figured out a way to make that possible. This isn't just one person. This isn't just two people. This isn't just a studio. It's everybody. Aren't we supposed to be looking out to make sure we maintain a life beat on this planet? Isn't that our job? Isn't it? Many black people will beg that you let other people do that. What about labor? Is our labor used to build stuff for us or for other people? Our time spent is to benefit other people or black people. Simple answer. Now, many will lie and try to come up with something. No, this is simple. Ants don't help butterflies. They're busy worrying about what ants do. Butterflies don't help ants. They're doing what butterflies doing. Guess what black people do? They are the sock puppet for the world. Like I said, I put the chat, number in the chat box. Prove me wrong. Law. Huh? Really? The people that run you now, the corporations that are set up on you now, and you can't tell this is a fraud? No, we apt to join it. What about politics? You're noticing how now They're making Negroes look dumber and dumber in politics. The attitudes. If you knew these counties and these municipalities that these Negroes run, you would vomit. You would vomit. What about religion? I mean, say when they say the Christians, the Europe, they have Christianity. Africa, they have whatever religions they have over there. Asia, they have Buddhism. India, they have Hinduism. What is so-called black religion? Other people's religion. They want you ask them what theirs are. I don't know. Every time. I think I met a brother just recently. He knew. It's right in your face. You don't even call on it and wonder why you lose. What's another area that people congregate in and want to be in? Sex. How are we with that? We take on other people's sexual practices, or do we practice our own? Tell the truth when you answer. That way you can start looking at it to change it. And last but not least, war, counter war. Do we have our own army, or do we join other people's army as mercenaries? Go over to other countries, wipe them out, then come back home only to see that those same people over here living next to your mama. Do we do that? Do we do that? Do we do that? So that's what so called black people do. How much longer do you think that's going to go on? And what position are you and your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren? Because remember, it ain't about you. You're just a link in the chain. You're here replacing your grandfather. You're here replacing your grandmother, aren't you? You're here replacing that cousin from 5 generations back, aren't you? Guess who don't think they're not that? The so-called African American, black people, right? So these are things that black people, African Americans do. No, it's not everybody. It's not every single body. 90%. You used to be the baddest farmers in the world. We still have a few around, but we don't have grocery stores. Other people from other nations are coming over here, opening up grocery stores on your land, and you support them. Explain. See, these are the questions you're supposed to be asking these people who you admire when you ask them questions. These are the kind of questions you should be asking them. It reminds me of that one of the brothers asked Martin Luther King's son, with all the money that the churches collect every week, why are we in this position economically? I don't know. And that's what he said. He didn't know. These are the people that are put in to run your life. These are the people that you adore, you vote for. You'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for them to lead you to where you are now. That's what black people do. So all I'm saying is this. If by now you don't know, then when it comes to America, the term is describing you. We went over this millions of times. Translate the word America in Spanish and French. They were over here too, besides the English. What does the term translate to you? It translates to you. How don't you not know that? And please, that they didn't, motherfucker, they ain't supposed to tell you. Just because that's what you do, anything you come up with, you go blab your mouth. You think hyenas tell lions what their plans are? You think giraffes tell elephants what their plans are? Guess what black people do? Boss, I'm next. So let's say you're 30. You just had a baby. 20 years, that baby's going to have a baby. You're going to be a grandparent now and you're going to be 50. When you're young, 60 looks a long way away. It ain't. 20 years after that, that grandson is going to have a kid. You're going to be 70 and still a young man, but by then you should have seen in watching your son, your grandson, and your great grandson. By then you should get it. Matter of fact, you should have got it 30 years prior, but you didn't. I would suggest you start educating these kids with something other than the dumb shit that you've been doing for the past 80 years. Getting into other people's groups, wanting to be them, getting their symbols burned into your arm, worshiping those gods, their gods, doesn't work for the group. It maybe work for the individuals. And the reason you have no excuse, because one of the things in culture that the indigenous people have is their music. Everybody loves it. If you read some of the letters, some of the things that the people who were coming over here were saying, you would get it. But the so-called African American doesn't read ever. And if they read, they'll read some Stephen King type stuff. I'm talking about the majority. I'm not talking about one or two people. That's the minority. I'm talking the average African American black person don't read, can't read. And so you read so you can understand what's happening around you, what these people are doing around you. Because your people always say they spoke with forked tongue. Guess who thinks they're telling the truth 100% of the time? What you do, what you say, and what you do are two different things. Carry two different energy. You can say you're going to go for a walk and you can just go for a walk. They're two different things, but it's energy being expended both ways. You are what you say you are. Your mama, your granddaddy, your great grandmama, your great great granddaddy, who were they? What did they do? What did they believe? What was their relationship to the land? And best of all, what was their relationships to each other? These are the things you're going to have to find out. These are the things you're going to have to be putting into practice before it's way too late. So you don't want to be black. You don't want to be known as black. Nobody's black. Just look at, I mean, there's some people out there now. Stop lying. You got lying. Something like that. You're calling yourself something that you're not. Other people picking up on that, and and all they do is play on your emotions. Do not leave this legacy for your kids to keep on. Teach them who they are and what they're about. Things will look a whole lot different. All right, listen, we're going to end this one now. Remember, you're not black. I mean, really, is it really that hard to understand? If it is, I feel for you. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next time. Peace.